We recently traveled to Turkey and visited Istanbul, Cappadocia and Antalya. We covered the entire trip in 11 days. In this video, we will cover the itinerary of our entire trip and also touch up on the budget and tour guide through which we booked our travel. So please stay tuned till the end. We landed at ISC Airport, Istanbul in the morning, one of the biggest airports in Europe. The weather was chilly, transitioning from winter to summer in the early May month. The tour operator had arranged a vehicle to pick us up and drop us to our hotel Metro Park near Istiklal Street. We checked into the hotel, rested for some time and then headed out later to explore the street. Istiklal Street is the most famous and bustling avenues in Istanbul, stretching all the way from Taksim Square where our hotel was to Galata. We visited some architectural buildings like this church and also spent some time at Hafiz Mustafa trying their culinary delights like the most famous Turkish baklava and also Turkish delights. After spending time there, we started walking towards the Galata Tower, took some pictures there, and then we had the famous Saint Sebastian cheesecake, which was really yum. And then we started walking down towards the Galata port, where we spent some time right next to the Bosphorus river, took some beautiful pictures against the blue backdrop of the Bosphorus river, and this is how we spent our day one before heading back to our hotel. Our day two began by visiting the Hippodrome, which was the center of social and sporting activity during the Byzantine Empire. Our tour operator had picked us up from our hotel and took us to the Sultan Ahmed area where the Hippodrome, the Blue Mosque and the Hagia Sophia were located. It was early morning and we visited the Blue Mosque. The entrance to the mosque was free. We spent some time in the mosque and took some pictures, and then later on we started walking outside towards the garden leading to Hagia Sophia. The entrance to Hagia Sophia was paid. We didn't really go to the mosque. There was a Seven Hills cafe close by and we spent some time out there by feeding the birds along with the locals. We walked up right to the terrace and did some video shoots and were able to feed the birds successfully as well. The Topkapi Palace also is located close to the Hagia Sophia. We didn't go to the Topkapi Palace. Later on, our tour operator took us to Koyan Bazaar. And then after having our lunch, in the second half of the day, we decided to go to Galata Bridge, where we saw the locals doing some fishing activity. It was fun to spend some time out there and watch them do the fishing. Also, there was pre-wedding shoots happening by the locals. We were able to see that. Later on, we came to Taksim Square and went to Istiklal Street and Galata. On day 3, after having our breakfast, we took a morning flight to travel to our next destination, which was Cappadocia. We landed at Nevşehir Airport and then the tour operator had arranged a local bus to take us to our hotel in Cappadocia, which was almost a 45 minutes drive. We checked into our hotel, which was the Zula Cave Hotel in Urkup city. It was a unique experience, just like living inside a cave within the mountains. The hotel was very cozy. The room also had a mini sauna. This is the terrace of the cave hotel where we would have our breakfast, and it also has a view of the city. After spending some time in the hotel, we went out and checked the local markets close by and also had our dinner out there. Day 4 was the most interesting part of our trip. We had planned for getting the hot air ballooning experience in Cappadocia, Goreme. We had booked a local taxi on the previous day, which would work out very economical. And we also got lucky as the weather was conducive for hot air ballooning. The taxi driver confirmed with us the previous night that the balloons will take off, and he came to pick us up around 4:30 am. And he took us to Goreme from Urkup, where our hotel was, in around 15 minutes. The weather was very cold and chilly. It was around 4 degrees in the morning and we were mostly seated in the cab, and once we reached the hot air ballooning site, we moved out towards the bonfire set up by the locals. We experienced everything from the balloons being filled with hot air and being hoisted in the air, And once the balloons were in the sky and once the daylight was out, the weather became really pleasant. We moved in the taxi along with the balloons through all the places, and eventually we reached Love Valley, where we were able to take some amazing pictures with the balloons in the backdrop. There were also many people gathered there to do on-site shoots with the balloons. Later we would get back to our hotel at around 7 a.m. and grab some sleep and then wake up for breakfast around 9:30 a.m. and then begin a north tour by around 10:15 a.m. We started the red or the north tour by visiting the Monks Valley, also called as the Passapac Valley, famous for its homes and chapels and fairy chimneys and unique rock formations. We had some time on our own to explore the place and check out the various rock formations along with the other tourists in the area. After that, we would visit Cappadocia, which is also known as an old Christian village. We spent some time there, and also the tour operator gave us the chance to do a small trek and explore things on our own in the mountains of the Christian village. Post that, we visited the Imagination Valley, where there were many rock formations said to resemble animals. Also, the tour operator halted our bus at a spot where we could get this amazing view of the Gorame Valley and take some amazing pictures with the valley in the backdrop. Post that, we headed for our lunch, and then later on we moved to the place called as Uchisar Castle, which is the highest point of the Rocky region. After that, we came back to our hotel and had our dinner at the local market before ending the day. For dinner, we went out to the local market and tried out this clay pot pottery kebab in one of the local restaurants out there. We tried the chicken meat, which was served boiling hot inside a clay pot. It was a treat for the eyes and also had an amazing taste. This was another of those unique experiences that we had while we were in Turkey, particularly in Cappadocia. On day 5, after having our breakfast at the hotel, we headed for a full day guided tour of southern Cappadocia, also called as a green tour. This was organized by our tour operator. It involved visiting Greek houses, churches carved into rocks, Pigeon Valley, Ilara Valley, and also an ancient underground city. We got a chance to visit a Greek home and interact with the owner, and also an old abandoned church besides it. We spent some time exploring the place. This was the location of the church atop a hill, and also there was a Greek home present. The locals were very courteous. They allowed us to check out the rooms inside the home that was carved into rocks. They also offered us some orange juice and snacks. Along with the tour operator, we explored the place, and then later on we headed to Pigeon Valley. We could see a lot of houses carved inside the rocks while we were traveling during our south tour. Later on, we halted at a spot called as the Pigeon Valley. The entire valley has rock formations with small holes used by pigeons. After that, we would visit the Oskonak underground city. We saw tunnels, hallways, stairways, and most of the time we were bending and crawling and walking through this place. It was a very unique experience being right underground where a whole city is built. This is the view of the light coming from the top, way beneath the tunnel. After visiting the underground city, the tour operator dropped us near the gates of the open air museum. We decided to explore the open air museum on our own and purchase the tickets for it. This was not included in our tour, but since we had some time at hand, we decided to go ahead and explore on our own. Also, the bus station which would take us to Antalya was close by, so after visiting the open air museum, we went to the bus station at around 8 pm to take the overnight bus to Antalya. After traveling from Cappadocia by the overnight bus, we arrived at around 7 am at Antalya bus station. The tour operator had arranged the driver who picked us up from the bus stand to our hotel, which was Hotel Aflon, and it was located very close to the old city of Antalya. We checked into the hotel, had a breakfast, rested for some time, and then headed straight to explore the old town on our own. As we had the entire day, we went to the clock tower and then walked through the streets of the old city. We explored the local streets and then went down to the Khaleesi Marina and took some beautiful pictures admiring the boats and enjoying the views of the Mediterranean Sea. Later on, we went towards the famous Hadrian's Gate and explored the local streets and took some pictures, spending time with the streets and the beautiful backdrop of the Mediterranean Sea. We also had lunch in one of the many resto bars along the streets. We had a local pizza and beer. Then we went to the old town streets where we explored the places. The streets looked like as if we were in Florida. Later on, we took a tram from the old city to go to Konyaaltı Beach, also known as Pebble Beach, which lasted around 20 minutes distance by tram. The beach has a lot of pebbles of different shapes and colors and was very fascinating to experience. We tried to step into the waters, but it was very cold and chilly. We sat on the beach enjoying the sunset and then later on started walking back towards our hotel. On the way back, we decided to have dinner along the local streets with a backdrop of the sea and the mountains and along with the locals. It was one of the most memorable experiences of the trip. On day 7, we got picked up from our hotel by the minibus and started our Antalya tour. We had another family also with us in the bus. We started by stopping on the road against the backdrop of the Konyaaltı Beach and Mediterranean Sea. Later we would go to visit the Lower Duden waterfall, not far away from the city center and very close to the Antalya airport. The waterfalls run through the city and plunges into the Mediterranean Sea. We spent some time taking some pictures with the backdrop of the waterfalls. After that, we went to the Upper Duden waterfalls, which is a peaceful natural spot where one can walk behind the flow of the water. The place was crowded with a lot of tourists. We spent an hour there exploring the place. Post visiting the waterfalls, we had our lunch and then we headed to Kalesi Harbour. We took some pictures with the backdrop of the Kalesi Marina and we went for a boat tour into the Mediterranean Sea, which was included in our itinerary. The tour lasted around 45 minutes and we got a chance to cruise on the Mediterranean Sea and enjoy some music and fun activities along with the locals. In the minibus back to our hotel. We checked into our hotel, had some rest, and then later on headed out in the evening for some dinner in the local streets close to the hotel. This is how we completed our day in Antalya. We planned our day 8 by visiting Pamukkale and Hierapolis. After breakfast, we were picked up by our tour bus to drive to Pamukkale, which is around 3 hours from Antalya. We had an early morning breakfast around 8:15 am in a local mini tour bus. And just before reaching Pamukkale, the bus halted at a spot with the picturesque lake next to the travertines, and we took some photos and spent some time there. It was not too crowded and we had the entire place to ourselves. After that, we had our lunch at a local restaurant and then started the Pamukkale tour by heading to the ancient city of Hierapolis, located next to the travertines of Pamukkale, built atop the terraces. It is advisable to explore Hierapolis first and then walk down towards Pamukkale, as it feels less tiring and is easily accessible on foot. We spent around an hour exploring Hierapolis with our local tour guide, who explained to us the details regarding the ruins of the city and the various spots inside Hierapolis.
Why is it so? What is the bubbling happening?
The water is containing high 93% carbon dioxide. That's why they were using this pool for sacrification for Hades. Sacrification pool.
You touch it, then it's okay.
You die. You enter, you gone.
And where is it?
Develop the games. They just develop the slaves to create warrior, then have more fun. So basically, the gladiator games started because they have more fun by training them.
So
The games are forbidden by the church. The gladiator games are not over because of Spartacus. It was just...
Pamukkale means cotton castle in Turkish, and it is a natural wonder formed by mineral-rich hot springs, and Hierapolis is the city which is built around it. The tour guide gave us an hour to explore the travertine terraces. We took some time to explore the terraces and had a look around the place. We also clicked photos with the lake which we had visited earlier in the backdrop. The place was bright white and it was reflecting the sunlight. We had worn sunglasses due to this. As it was slightly inconvenient for the eyes with the bright light reflecting the sun from the white surface. After visiting Pamukkale, we visited the Hierapolis Archaeological Museum right next to Pamukkale before completing our tour and heading back. On day 9, we checked out of our hotel Aflon in Antalya and planned to fly to Istanbul. The local tour guide had the vehicle arranged to pick us up from the hotel and take us to the Antalya airport, from where we would pick up the local Turkish airways to fly to Istanbul, which is located at a 1 hour distance, around 450 kilometers from Antalya. These are the visuals from the flight. There were few snow-capped mountains and also the beautiful view of the Mediterranean Sea while flying off from Antalya towards Istanbul. Once we landed in Istanbul, we headed out in the evening for the Bosphorus cruise, which was planned by ourselves. We took the Bosphorus cruise on the day in the evening. It was arranged by us by contacting the local operator. It was also a unique experience. The local cruise operator had arranged for the vehicle to pick us up from our hotel and take us to the place where the cruise would begin. And once on the cruise ship, we would experience different performances by the local artists, and also the food and beverages were covered in the cost. The cruise would last around 2 hours and would take us right into the Bosphorus Sea and back, and we got a chance to witness the cultural performances by the local artists. Once the back-to-back performances by the artists were completed, the floor was open for the people to party and dance to music of their choice. So many people joined along the floor of the boat and started dancing. There were few Indian people present on the boat who requested for some Bollywood songs, and once the songs were played, the people started dancing and freaking out to the music. It was party time and it was a lot of energy and fun to experience. Day 10 was the second last day of our tour and we had the entire day to explore on our own. We decided to go to Sultanahmet area and do some sightseeing and then spend some time shopping. We took the local transport from our area in Taksim Square and went to Sultanahmet area. And over there we visited the Basilica Cistern, which is located close to Hagia Sophia. Since we were there early morning, there was not much crowd. We took the tickets from the counter and proceeded to see the cistern. It is one of the largest of the several hundred ancient cisterns that lies beneath the city of Istanbul. It used to be a place where they stored a huge amount of water. Now it is open to the public to marvel as part of Istanbul's heritage. We spent some time in the Basilica Cistern exploring the place and took some amazing pictures. The lights in the background keep on continuously changing and one can take pictures from different angles with different lightings. There is a railing area where people can walk on top of the water, and this is built all in between the pillars of the cisterns. After spending an hour in the Basilica cistern, we moved out and then we decided to go to the Spice Bazaar and the area around it to do our final shopping for the day. The spice market and the area around it had a lot of things on display and a lot of items were available for shopping. We tried the kunafe and we also picked up some Turkish delights and baklavas. They packed it very well for us to take it back home. We picked up pistachios, dry fruits, some scented soaps, packaged meat, spices, cheeses, and also there were a lot of clothes and accessories in the area on display. And the rates were comparatively cheap to the other areas that we had visited on our tour. We had some Turkish ice cream and also had our lunch in the area. We spent some time rambling around the place and then later on we decided to do the day boat cruises in the ferry that were leaving across the road.
Spice Bazaar.
After finishing our shopping at the spice market, we took some rest and sat on the pavements along the place. Then later on, we moved across the street and did a booking for the ferry cruise. We booked it through Turiyal operator TURYL. The cruise would last around 90 minutes. It would start from the European side and go midway to the Bosphorus till the Sultan Ahmed Bridge and turn back. The cruise covered both the European as well as the Asian side. There was a continuous audio playing on the ferry while the boat was passing through various places, and the audio was explaining the significance of the sights that were visible to us from the boat. It was a very relaxing experience as there was chilly winds blowing throughout from the Bosphorus. Later, after completing the cruise, we would head back and catch a bus to go to another place called as Ortaköy, which was suggested by a local tour operator. We would have dinner at Ortaköy and return back. Day 11 was our final day, the day that we would return back. We had some time in the morning after checking out from the hotel. We were hanging around the place at Istiklal Street and taking some photos, creating some memories. And later on, the vehicle would come to pick us up and take us to the airport on the Asian side. We spent around 45 minutes traveling to the airport and then we we checked into the lounge as we had the lounge access. And then we had a return journey safely back home to Mumbai on Kuwait Airways. Finally, regarding the budget and tour operator, we planned the tour with the help of a local operator from Istanbul. The website is pamukkale.com. The tour cost was around 1,200 euros per person for around 11 days, which included our hotel stay, internal travel, including airport pickups, drops, day tours, overnight bus, domestic flights, breakfast on all days, and lunch on 2 days. They actually customize the tour as per the requirements, and they are very reliable and genuine, and they did all the arrangements as per the itinerary. The person who owns the tour coordinated with us all through our journey, right from the time we landed in Istanbul till the time we left Istanbul. If interested, I can share his name and contact details, so please like and subscribe to our vlogs. The tour items we booked on our own included flights to and from Mumbai on Kuwait Airways, the Turkish visa, which was the sticker visa as we were not eligible for the e-visa, and remaining items which were not covered in our itinerary, and we decided to do as per our choice, including the lunch and dinner for the remaining days. So this is the complete itinerary and budget of our tour to Turkey. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.